Welcome to this week's Movie Math, giving you an in-depth analysis of the box office for the weekend of April 27th, where the 5-year engagement was left standing at the altar. Yes, while the previous Jason Segel-Nick Stoller romantic comedy Forgetting Sarah Marshall opened at number 2 with $17.7 million, this latest venture has been jilted by audiences with a 5th-place debut. I guess they should have called it the 1-year engagement and not Tempted Fate. Although all hope is not entirely lost, as numbers 2 through 5 are so close, it will indeed be a photo finish as the final box office numbers come in. But still, things are looking pretty bleak right now in Camp Apatow. While he was crowned the new king of comedy back in 2007 when he produced back-to-back hits Knocked Up and Superbad, his reign has been going downhill ever since. Currently 2 for 10, with the 5-year engagement clearly on track to make his record 2 for 11, one has to wonder how much steam is left in the Apatow Comedy Express. Does the Emperor have no clothes? Well, we all know that Jason Segel has no clothes, but it's a tactic that's clearly not working for the actor. Considering that this comedy was supposed to open at number 1 and was tracking as such, it's a pretty damning referendum on both Segel and Emily Blunt's ability to bring in an audience. This comedy was supposed to take their careers to new heights, yet it looks like it might just sink them. Hey Segel, it's not too late to put a call into Disney re The Muppets 2. So what was number 1? That would be Think Like a Man, which easily held on to the top spot in its second weekend despite dropping 46%. It's rare for an African-American genre film to capture the top spot, much less hold on to it for 2 weeks, a feat last performed by Tyler Perry's Medea Goes to Jail, and also by Tim Story's previous urban comedy, Barbershop. That was in the middle of February and September, where there's not much box office competition, while Think Like a Man has been able to hold off a bevy of strong contenders. But on the other hand, those two movies had weeks to clean up at the box office, while unfortunately Think Like a Man's reign is likely to be cut short this coming weekend as the summer movie season begins in earnest. But on the other hand, it could serve quite well as counter-programming to the big high-concept pictures for 2 more weeks until What to Expect When You're Expecting debuts. Then in second place, while some might have doubted the quality of the Pirates Band of Misfits, there was no doubting Sony's distribution plan of quantity. The stop-motion flick opened in the biggest number of theaters, and like most family movies, saw its box office booty surge on Saturday. Unfortunately though, this debut doesn't even match that of Aardman's November release Arthur Christmas, and pales in comparison to the debuts of the company's heyday. As for what beat out the 5-year engagement, that would be holdovers The Lucky One and The Hunger Games. And while The Lucky One dropped 50%, The Hunger Games dropped a mere 24%, proving that Katniss is truly a survivor. How long can she sit up in that box office tree before the other tributes take her down? We'll have to wait and see. After the 5-year engagement, we find the weekend's other new releases, Safe and The Raven. Jason Statham, like Apatow, is also suffering a box office downward slide. Hopefully The Expendables 2 will either give him a jump start, or those rumors that he'll be joining the Fast and the Furious or Transformers franchises will come true. In contrast, John Cusack's career has been full of highs and lows. He's one of those actors that, thanks to early iconic works, will always have a seat at the Hollywood table. As for the rest of the box office, Chimpanzee might have dropped significantly in its second weekend, but is already the highest-grossing Disney nature film here in the US. Meanwhile, The Three Stooges and The Cabin in the Woods, both released 3 weeks ago, continue to perform on par. That's either very impressive for The Three Stooges or very embarrassing for The Cabin in the Woods. Take your pick. As for this upcoming weekend, industry projections for The Avengers have been reassessed in light of its spectacular performance overseas, and the film is now expected to open with $170 million. That would give it the biggest opening weekend of all time. Who does it have to beat? The final Harry Potter, The Dark Knight, The Hunger Games, Spider-Man 3, and the Twilight Saga New Moon. In a week, we'll have our answer. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.